It started like most betrayals do. Quiet, small, easy to explain away. I was waiting in line for coffee when my phone buzzed. A push notification from my bank. At first, I didn't look twice. Then I saw the number. Over $3,000. Jewelry. From a boutique downtown I'd never stepped foot in. I froze. I hadn't bought anything that week except groceries and gas. I didn't know anyone to ring. I didn't even know anyone who would deserve one. My first thought was fraud. Some hacker. A stolen number. Maybe I clicked the wrong link. Maybe someone skimmed my card. But when I opened the app, the charge wasn't flagged. It was approved. Processed. Attached to my account. There was more. A hotel in her name. A restaurant reservation. A designer bag from a store she once told me was a waste of money. Every charge appeared in perfect sequence. Like a trip. Like a plan. Like someone was living a life on my dime. And I wasn't invited. I told myself to breathe. Maybe she had a reason. Maybe she borrowed the card and forgot to tell me. Maybe it was a gift. A surprise. A mistake. But the hotel was booked during a week she claimed to be working overtime. The dinner for two was on a night I ate alone. The charges weren't random. They were intentional. And somewhere between the panic and the math, I realized something colder than suspicion. This wasn't just fraud. This was personal. I got home that night and didn't say a word. She was already asleep on the couch, half wrapped in a blanket, phone still glowing in her hand. The same hand that had likely used my name to open a credit card I never applied for. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and pulled up my credit report. There it was. A new card under my name, from a bank I'd never dealt with. Opened 3 months ago. Almost maxed out. Every payment was made just enough to avoid attention. Minimum balance paid, just enough to keep the illusion going. I clicked into the transaction history. That was the moment everything changed. There were purchases in cities we hadn't visited. Hotel stays in neighborhoods she claimed to hate. Items I'd never seen, from brands she used to make fun of. Everything felt curated for someone else. That someone wasn't me. The same boutique that charged over $3,000 had 2 earlier transactions. One for a custom engraving. One for resizing. Not just a ring she'd planned to give to someone. Then came the restaurant reservations. The spa. The leather briefcase. 2 plane tickets I didn't book, to a place I'd never mentioned wanting to visit. The timeline was precise. It lined up with every excuse she had fed me for weeks. Working late. A friend's birthday. Some last-minute trip for her cousin's bachelorette. I'd believed all of it. She had looked me in the eyes every time she lied. Steady, calm, effortless. She didn't steal my card. She stole my identity. Opened a whole new account. Built a financial double life. And I only noticed because she got too confident. Or maybe because deep down she never thought I'd check. She never thought I'd look that closely. She thought I trusted her. She was right. Until now. The next morning, she kissed me on the cheek like nothing had changed. Made coffee. Hummed something off-key while scrolling through her phone. It was a performance, and I watched it like a stranger. She looked peaceful. Comfortable. Like someone who believed everything was under control. And for a moment, I questioned whether I was overreacting. Whether I had misunderstood what I saw. Then I remembered the card's billing address. It wasn't our apartment. It was a P.O. box. Registered 2 cities over. One I'd never seen before. She'd gone through the trouble of redirecting physical statements, so I wouldn't catch on. I checked her social media. Her location tags had disappeared 2 months ago. The captions turned vague. Her replies were slower. Her presence in my life became softer, quieter, like she was fading herself out in advance. She had been building this world for a while. One where she could spend my credit, live her fantasy, and walk right past me without guilt. The worst part? She was good at it. I started noticing little details I'd missed. That pair of heels I thought was a gift from a friend. The overnight bag she said was for work trips. A second phone charger she always carried, but never used in front of me. She didn't just use me. She studied me. She learned exactly how much she could get away with, exactly which questions I wouldn't ask. She knew my patterns better than I knew hers. And now, she was acting like nothing had happened. Like we were still fine. Like I was still her safe place, her soft landing. But something had shifted in me. I wasn't the one being studied anymore. I was watching her now. And she had no idea the curtain was about to drop. I wasn't looking for him at first. I didn't need to. She had already told me enough through her spending. The restaurants she never mentioned. The the hotel rooms that never involved me, the spa packages clearly booked for two. There was no version of this where she was acting alone. But curiosity creeps in when betrayal stirs long enough. I wanted to know who was worth risking everything for. Who was she really spending my credit on? I didn't have to dig too deep. She had a locked Instagram account, not private, just curated. No location tags, no faces, just aesthetics and motivational captions. But her Venmo was public. People always forget that. Scrolling through her transaction history was like reading a coded confession. Dinner, flowers, Ubers, all sent to the same name. Repeatedly. No emoji, no notes, just frequency. I searched the name. He wasn't hard to find. One of those guys who thinks he's off the grid because he doesn't post selfies, but still tags himself at boxing gyms and brunch spots. I found a tagged photo of him first, standing next to her. His hand on her lower back. That kind of touch isn't casual. He was older than me by maybe 10 years. Expensive haircut, fake modest clothes. The kind of guy who makes debt look charming. In one post, he was holding a wine glass with the same ring I paid for on his finger. Not engagement, just jewelry. But I knew it. I recognized the shape of the band. The boutique engraving. The caption under the photo said nothing, but her smile said everything. I kept scrolling. She had left me on read the night that photo was taken. Said she fell asleep early. But here she was, wearing the dress I noticed was missing from her closet. The one she said she returned. She didn't return anything. She just took it somewhere else. That was when the shift became permanent. I stopped thinking about how to confront her. I started thinking about how to finish this. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to give her a scene she could twist into victimhood. I was going to undo every part of what she'd built on my name. I printed out everything. Transactions. Cross-referenced timestamps. Phone records. Receipts. Screen captures. Even her browser history. She hadn't cleared it once. Everything pointed to one conclusion. She wasn't slipping. She was climbing, on my credit, and she thought I'd never notice. That was her last mistake. I spent the next 2 days in silence. Not because I was unsure. Not because I was overwhelmed. But because silence gave me control. She still thought I was oblivious, still kissed me goodbye, still sent me texts during the day like nothing had changed. But everything had. I wasn't sleeping much. Not out of stress, but focus. I started every morning reviewing my bank records, documenting timestamps, aligning transactions with her fabricated schedule. I checked Uber receipts, IP addresses from her logins, shipping confirmations, even GPS data from a food delivery app she forgot to delete. She left a trail like she was proud of it. I ordered a binder. A real one. Not for show, for clarity. Inside, I categorized everything. Section 1, the credit card application. Opened in my name, but from her device. Same IP used to log into her social media the same day. Section 2, transaction history, with physical locations matched against her work schedule. Section 3, visual evidence. Photos, screenshots, her digital receipts. By the time I was done, I had what looked like a federal case. The kind you could hand to a lawyer and walk away from with clean hands. But I didn't go to a lawyer. I went to the bank. I walked in wearing the same hoodie she used to borrow and dropped the binder on the desk of a fraud investigator. Told them I didn't apply for the card. Told them I hadn't authorized the charges. Told them to check the metadata on the application. They did. They asked if I knew who might have opened the card. I slid over a printed page. A selfie she had taken on the same day, in the same outfit, with a timestamp that matched the application. The investigator raised an eyebrow. I didn't smile. I just waited. They took notes. Photocopied everything. Said they'd be in touch. When I walked out, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt precise. That night, she came home late. Said she was tired. Kissed me on the neck and fell asleep next to me like nothing was wrong. She didn't know the clock was ticking. The next morning, I got the email. Fraud claim accepted. Responsibility reversed. Account flagged for identity abuse. The balance, hers now. The account, under investigation. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I made coffee and waited for the sound of her world crumbling. It took less than 48 hours for the dominoes to fall. She didn't know what hit her at first. Just woke up confused, pacing the apartment in her robe, phone pressed to her ear while she waited on hold. She was panicking, but trying to mask it behind irritation. I sat on the couch with my laptop open, sipping coffee like it was just another Thursday. She hung up, then called again. Checked her email. Logged into the bank app. Logged out. Back in. Again. The more she clicked, the more frantic she got. And the less I said, the more she spiraled. Eventually, she asked if I'd seen anything strange with our bank accounts. Our accounts. Like we were still a team. I told her no. Just a few charges I didn't recognize, but I had already spoken to the bank. Her eyes froze for a moment. She didn't blink. Didn't speak. She just stared like a computer that suddenly stopped loading. She tried to play it cool after that. Said maybe someone hacked her phone. Maybe it was a glitch. But I knew her tells. She only rambled when she was caught. She asked if I still had the card. The one she said she never used. I didn't answer. Just looked at her, steady and quiet. That was enough. An hour later, she was sitting on the floor, cross-legged, clutching her phone like a weapon. Every few minutes, she refreshed her banking app. Every time, it told her the same thing. Frozen. Pending investigation. Delinquent balance reassigned. I saw it on her face the moment she understood. She'd used my name. Now the debt was in hers. She wasn't just facing a financial hit. She was facing identity fraud. She had handed the bank everything they needed to take her down, and she did it while smiling. I didn't gloat. I didn't say a word. She paced the apartment that night like a storm cloud in a cage. Said she needed air. Left for a while. Came back silent. Her boyfriend must have found out by then. Maybe through a declined dinner charge. Maybe when her card got rejected at the front desk of the same hotel I paid for. Or maybe she confessed in a panic, hoping he'd fix it. Either way, he was gone by the weekend. She never said his name again. She barely said mine either. She just moved through the apartment like a ghost in someone else's house. I didn't ask her to leave. I just made sure she knew she wasn't staying. The first box appeared near the door on Sunday morning. She didn't say she was leaving. Didn't ask where she was supposed to go. Just started folding clothes and quietly stacking her things like someone preparing for a fire. There was no confrontation. No last-ditch effort to explain herself. She had burned through the last of her words the day the investigation email came through. Now all she had left was silence. I let her pack. Every pair of shoes, every piece of makeup, every book she never read but left on the shelf for decoration. I didn't touch anything. I just sat nearby, doing absolutely nothing, while she dismantled the life she had built using my name. She stopped trying to make small talk after the first hour. By the second, she moved around me like I wasn't there at all. When she opened the closet and saw the folder labeled dispute case, her hand paused midair. She didn't open it. She didn't need to. It was her signature on the card application. Her login. Her billing address. Her lies documented and stapled. She already knew what it was. The next day, she took the last of her things and left the spare key on the counter. No note. No apology. Just absence. I sat on the couch for a while afterward, listening to the quiet. No more fake phone calls. No more lies dressed as casual conversations. No more emotional debt dragging me into her mess. She didn't just lose access to my credit. She lost her safety net. Her boyfriend was gone. Her account was frozen. Her credit score would be demolished. And any chance she had of starting over clean was now buried under a fraud report with her name on it. A week later, I got a letter from the bank confirming everything had been resolved. The account was closed. The balance removed from my history. Her name flagged in their system. She made one mistake. She thought I was too nice to fight back. What she didn't realize was that I wasn't fighting. I was documenting. And now she'd be paying for it, in full. It's funny how quiet the world feels after something explodes. You expect smoke, debris, maybe even some applause. But all I got was silence. And honestly, that was enough. She didn't come back. Didn't try to reach out. Didn't text to defend herself or twist the narrative. I think she knew that story had already collapsed. Her friends must have noticed she disappeared. She had always been the loud one in the group chat. The planner. The center of attention. And now she was just gone. I never explained. I didn't need to. The people who mattered didn't ask. The ones who might have judged? They never mattered. I went back to normal life slowly. I changed passwords. Froze my credit. Canceled old accounts. It wasn't about fear. It was about freedom. Scrubbing my name clean. Pulling her fingerprints off everything she touched. I didn't rush to fill the space she left. Sometimes peace doesn't feel like joy. Sometimes it just feels like the absence of anxiety. No more second-guessing purchases. No more quiet questions. No more pretending I didn't notice the way she smiled at her phone. Just me. My name. My life. It took months to clear the damage from my credit report. Even longer to stop instinctively checking my bank app every time she crossed my mind. But eventually, her name became just that. A name. One I didn't say. One I didn't need. She stole my identity. She drained my money. She lied to my face for months. And I never raised my voice. Because revenge doesn't need volume. It needs timing, documentation, and the right signature at the right time. She gave me hers. Now the record will hold it forever.